We're here today to have a discussion about underage drinking and driving. We're going to go back to the month of June 2005 and discuss a crash that occurred in Ocean City, Maryland. And we have two guests today who will share their stories about drinking and driving. First, we have from Reading, Pennsylvania, Cindy Walter to my left, and to my right we have from Allentown, Pennsylvania, Linda Sheftel. We'd like to start off today with asking Cindy exactly what happened on her day back in June 15, 2005.
My son Benjamin was in Ocean City, Maryland for Senior Week, and I had spoken to him earlier during the day around 5 o'clock, and he was having a good time, and I was getting ready to go out for the evening, and we talked briefly, and that was the last time I talked to him until the following day. I received a phone call about 12:30 in the morning from a friend of Ben's, who told me that Ben was involved in a accident and that he had hit a pedestrian. It was a very difficult conversation. At first it was very difficult to believe that I was getting that type of phone call. And after that, my husband and I, Ben's father and I, headed down to Ocean City, Maryland.
And what happened when you got to Ocean City?
We arrived in Ocean City about 7:30 in the morning and went to the police station. And at that time, we were not allowed to speak or see Ben because he was an adult. But they did confirm with us that he had hit and killed a pedestrian. And the pedestrian was a male, an 18-year-old male from Pennsylvania. And that, unfortunately, Ben was the driver of the vehicle and that he had been drinking.
And where was Ben at this point?
He was in jail in Ocean City, Maryland.
Was there a bond set or anything?
Well, we had to wait all day for him to be arraigned. There was a lot that they had to do that day because of Senior Week. But the bond was $50,000, and we had to post $5,000.
So how long was Ben detained at that point?
We did not get him out of jail until about 11:30 that night.
And then what did you do then?
Went back to the hotel and just tried to get a good night's sleep and piece together everything that had occurred, and the next day we began our search for legal counsel.
And when did you head back to Pennsylvania?
We headed back to Pennsylvania about 5, 6 o'clock in that evening, that next day.
So let me turn it over now to Linda. When did you find out something tragic had happened?
We had gone to bed that night, and I think we were woken up around 12:30, 12:15 by my niece screaming over the phone that Justin had been hit by a hit-and-run driver, and she didn't know what to do. And I kept saying to her, is he okay? Is he okay? Missy, just tell me he's okay. And she says, I think he is. I think he is. And she hung up, and I went down and I tried to get Justin on my cell phone, and I couldn't get an answer. And I came back up, and Elliot had gotten out of bed and had fallen, and then we got another phone call from someone we didn't even know, who said that he had been hit and the driver had left the scene of the accident. And I kept saying, is he all right? Please just tell me he's all right, kind of screaming. And nobody really could respond, and he hung up, and then we got a third phone call, and it was from the same guy, and this was all within a course of about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And he said that Justin was gone, and that they still didn't know where the driver was. And I just remember screaming then and kind of falling down and saying, what do I do? What do I do? And then I don't really remember too much else. I know his family came, and somehow or another the family was up in our bedroom. Elliot's brothers and sister-in-laws and his mom came over, and we just were in shock. I don't remember anything else. I really don't remember too much after that. I know people were coming in and out of the house that night trying to figure out what happened. We were getting phone calls from the police, and Elliot was on the phone some, and his brother was on the phone. But that's all I remember.
When did Justin graduate?
He graduated Monday night.
Just the
2 days, the day before. Yeah.
And as I recall from media accounts, the funeral was really large.
Yeah, it was huge. There were people that were they couldn't even stand. They barely had standing room only. So there were a lot of people there. There was over, I don't know, they were estimating, I don't remember, but I think they were estimating the crowd as being over 1,200 people just at the funeral. So
what were Justin's plans for the future?
he was going to attend Washington University in St. Louis, and it's a Division III school, so he was hoping to play baseball for him. You know, he'd been in touch with the coach, and it looked like they were going to use him because he was a left-handed pitcher. And he wanted to major in business. He was going to do something in business. He wanted to be an entrepreneur. So that was where he was going.
So as the summer wore on, what did you do? How did you contact the state attorney's office? What did you do next in the way of talking with the system, shall we say?
Well, we got an attorney that was really like our family attorney anyway, and met with him. We didn't really know what to do. And he kind of contacted the assistant DA, or the DA, you know, and kind of went over what was going on, trying to sort through what had happened. We really didn't have a whole story. You know, we were piecing together the police report and all the other stuff that we had heard. And eventually we were talking, and you were saying something about community service, and I said, I really think we need to go out and talk about this. I think Ben needs to talk, I need to talk, and let people know how it impacts families, not just the individual people, but the whole community of people that, you know, kind of support and surround you. And so they were able to put that in the sentence. That's kind of how it came about in the negotiations with the, you know, discussions with the DA. And we met with the DA at one time, and then of course we went back down for the trial.
Now, was jail time mentioned as part of the sentence?
We didn't. Yes, they discussed it, and we did want jail time, but we did not want time spent in the state jail, because we just felt like it was going to ruin Ben. And you know, it didn't make sense to do that. So we stuck to the, you know, we really just wanted him to stay in the and I got a Kleenex. We just wanted him to stay in the county detention center, which was a low, whatever they call, minimum, I guess a minimum security facility. Right. Because and that required for the sentence to be less. So, because once you cross a certain amount of time in the, at least this is what was explained to us in the county, then you have to go to state. You're required to do that. So we didn't want the sentence to be long, but we did feel that there needed to be a sentence.
So you think justice was served with the outcome of the trial?
Oh yeah, the time didn't even matter to me. It wasn't about the time.
Let me turn it back over to Cindy. There's victims on both sides of this crash, all around. There's always victims on all sides. How do you feel about the trial and the sentencing for your son, Ben?